Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at that 0x0c more memory allocation free. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back to my channel. If today is your first time and you are into software engineering, please subscribe to my channel so that we all grow together. There will be more videos coming, then we all grow together. So for the concept of this particular project, we are expected to look at this concept, that is automatic and dynamic allocation, malloc and free. So these are the resources that we need to look at. Then when we come to the general requirements, we are being asked to use, or the text editors that we are allowed is vi, vim and emacs. And all our files will be compiled with Ubuntu 20.0 for LTS using GCC. And also the only C standard functions we are allowed are malloc, free and exit. Any use of functions like printf, put, calloc, realloc, etc. is forbidden. We are also allowed to use putchar. Then we don't have to push our putchar.c, but just that they will use their own putchar.c to run the code that will be writing. And also we must make sure we have the prototype of all our functions. Putchar should be included in the header file called main.h. Then please don't forget to push your header file. Before we start working on the task, we need to take this quiz. So if you are finding the quiz difficult, please look at some of the solutions over here as a guide to help you answer your quiz so that we all can do the task successfully. Now before you start working on the task, make sure you run your sandbox. Now when you run your sandbox, okay, to take you to the home. Now we know that our project or our repository is inside the root of your sandbox. So to navigate to the root, you type cd then root. Then when we ls over here, you see that we have our repositories over here. When you look at the repo that we are doing or we are working today's tasks in, we are working inside the ALX low-level programming repository. So to do that, we just have to change directory using cd then ALX low-level programming. Then you hit enter. So right now we are inside the ALX low-level programming repository. Now the directory in which we are going to perform this particular task is the 0x0c more malloc free. So just copy the directory name over here. Come to your terminal. Now to create a folder or directory in the terminal, we use the command mkdir, that is the make directory command. So you type the command, hit your spacebar and paste the title of the directory that, or the name of the directory that you copied, then you hit enter. So right now when we ls, you can see that our directory has been created successfully. The next step is for us to now navigate into this directory and start performing our tasks. So to do that, we now change directory, which is cd 0x0c more malloc free. So right now when we ls, you can see that we are inside our directory, the new directory that we just created. Now anytime you create a new directory, the first thing that we are supposed to do is to create our readme file. So you can see that readme file is at the root of the folder of the project is mandatory. So the next thing that we are going to do after we have now change directory into our folder here is to now create a readme file. Now to do that, just type vi then readme.md. Now the MD extension over there is basically for markdown. So readme files are markdown files. Now anytime you create a file or you open a file with your Vim editor, it goes into the command mode. So now for us to be able to update or make any edit on our file, you are supposed to hit I on your keyboard, which will now change to the insertion mode. Then we can now input our readme, or we can now edit our readme. So for heading 1, it uses the hashtag key. That is why you can see that I have my hashtag over here. And I'll come back to the project, copy the project title, come back to the VI and paste. When you are done editing or typing, you click escape on your keyboard. Then we now type :WQ, which is write and create. So the W will save the file and the create will take us back to the previous page that we were. Then you hit enter. So right now when I ls, you can see that we now have our readme file in our directory. The next step is for us now to push this directory, this particular addition that we've done, to GitHub. To do that, you type git add git commit -m. Then my message is going to be created readme file. Then you can now do git push. Now the next thing that we are going to do is that when you look at the general requirement, okay, they are saying that the prototypes of all our functions and the prototype of the function putchar should be included in our header file called main.h. So the next file that we'll be creating is our main.h. So to do that, we type vi main.h. Then you hit enter. Then now we are inside the command mode of our VI. So to now go into the insertion mode, for us to now be able to create our file, you hit I on your keyboard. Then over here we can now be able to type. So you type this particular code inside your main.h file. When you are done typing, then you click escape on your keyboard to enter the command mode. Then you type :WQ, which will now write and create. So we can now push this to our GitHub. So you type git add git commit -m, then created main.h file. Then you do git push. Now mind you, anytime you create a file, okay, anytime you are done writing your script, you must make sure you check it with the Betty star to be sure whether there are no errors. So to do that, you type Betty, then the name of the file. So if there is any error, Betty will display it to you. But as you can see, we don't have any error, so we are good to go. So now we are being asked that the first task is trust no one. So we are being asked to write a function that allocates memory using malloc. The prototype that we are supposed to use is void malloc checked unsigned int b. Then it's supposed to return a pointer to the allocated memory. If malloc fails, the malloc check function should cause normal process termination with a status value of 98. So the code that we are going to write must satisfy all of these statements that is written or stated over here. So to do that, we come here, copy the name of the file, Then back into our terminal, we type vi, then you paste the name of the file and hit enter. Then you can now click I on your keyboard to enter the insertion mode. Then we can now type our code. Please, I'll provide a link under the description to all the codes so that you can, anytime you are working and there is an issue or you have a blocker, you can just click on the link to look at the code. That will also help. So after clicking I on your keyboard, then you type this particular code that we have over here. When you are done, click escape on your keyboard, then :WQ, and you hit enter. Now for us to be sure there are no errors, the first thing that we are supposed to do is to check it with Betty. So let's type Betty, then the name of the particular file. So Betty, then 0 malloc checked.c, then you hit enter. Now you can see that we don't have any error, so we are good to go. So the next thing that we are supposed to do is to push it to GitHub. So to do that, we type git add git commit -m git commit -m, then you type your statement. So created tax 1, then you hit enter. After that, after committing your code, you can now push to GitHub, which is git push. Then the next, right now we don't have, the checker hasn't been released yet, so we cannot check our code. But when you are done and when you are writing the code, and in your case the checker has been released, you can now click on check code to be sure everything is working successfully. Then you can move on to the next task. So after we are done with task 1, then we can now move to task 2. Now task 2 is saying that string and concat. So we are being asked to write a function that concatenates 2 strings. So the function prototypes that we'll be using are these that we have over here. Then the return pointer shall point to a newly allocated space in memory which contains S1, followed by the first n bytes of S2 and now terminated. If the function fails, it should return now. If n is greater or equal to the length of S2, then use the entire string S2. Then if now is sparse, treat it as an empty string. So the C script that we'll be writing, which is for string and concat, must satisfy the whole of these statements that we have over here. So to do that, come down here, copy the name of the file, come back to your terminal and type vi space and paste the name of the file that you copied and hit enter. Then inside the command mode, click I to move to the insertion mode so that you can now type the code. So after typing your code, okay, which we have over here, okay, you can see that when we come to the condition, it said this is the function prototype that we are using. So that means we must have a function like this. That is why you can see that we have our function char, string, and concat over here. And these are the function parameters as we have over here. Then we are saying that if the function fails, it should return now. So you can see that when we come over here, okay, all of this code that we have over here, the whole of this code that we have over here is satisfying all of these conditions. So when you are done typing your script or your code, click escape on your keyboard and you type :WQ to go back to the previous page. Then we can now check it with Betty. So Betty, then the name of the file, then you hit enter. If there is any error, Betty will point it out to you. But as you can see, we don't have any error. So the next task is just let's add it, commit it, and push it to GitHub. So to do that, we now go back to git add git commit -m. Then the message that I'm going to do, or I'm going to input over there, is created tags 2. Then you hit enter. After committing, then you now do git push to push your code to GitHub. Then this place also, in case your checker has been released, then you click on check code. The next task is Calloc. That is, write a function that allocates memory for an array using malloc. The prototype that we are using over here is the void Calloc. Now the Calloc function allocates memory for an array of nmem elements of size bytes each and returns a pointer to the allocated memory. The memory is set to 0. If nmem of size is 0, then Calloc returns null. If malloc fails, then Calloc returns null. Now for your information, the standard library provides a different function, which is Calloc. Now for you to be able to learn more about Calloc, just run man Calloc in your terminal to learn more. So to perform this task, we can now come here and copy the name of the file. Go back to our terminal and type vi space and paste the name of the file and hit enter. In the command mode, click on I to enter the insertion mode. Then you can now type the code. So after typing your code, which is what we have over here, okay, that is void Calloc unsigned int nmem unsigned int size char pointer a unsigned int b. So the whole of this code that we have over here, from the if to the return a, is satisfying the whole of this particular condition that we have over here. So when you are done typing your code, click escape on your keyboard, then you type :wq. After that, you hit enter. Then we can now use Betty to check whether our code is not having any errors. So you can see that this one has also passed Betty successfully. So the next thing that we are going to do is to add it to our files, commit it and push it to GitHub. So to do that, we type git add git commit -m. Then I'll type created task, then git push. When you are done pushing, okay, then if your checker is released, you click on check code to be sure everything is running well. Then after that, you are done with task 2, so we can now move on to task 3. Now task 3 is saying that write a function that creates an array of integers. So the function prototype that we have over here is the int array range int min int max. Now the array created should contain all the values from min included to max included, ordered from minimum to maximum, which is min, which is the min to max over here. Then we are supposed to return the pointer to the newly created array. Now if minimum is greater than maximum, then it should return null. Now if malloc fails, then we should also return null. So to do that, we come back to our file, copy our file name, then after copying the file name, then you come back to your terminal and type vi and paste the name of the file, then you hit enter. In the command mode, you click I to enter the insertion mode, and you can now type your code. After typing your code, which is what we have over here, click escape on your keyboard, then type :wq to write or to save and quit and go back to the previous page. and hit enter. Now we can now use Betty to check whether our code is free from errors. So you just type Betty, then the name of the file, then you hit enter. So you can see that our task 3 is also free from any errors. So the next thing is for us to push it to GitHub. To do that, we type git add git commit -n, and I'll have my created task. Then you hit enter. And after that, you type git push to GitHub. When you are done with this and your checker is released, you click on check code. From here, you can now click on done with the mandatory tasks, unlock 2 advanced tasks now. So you click on it, then you click OK over here. Then it will unlock the next 2 advanced tasks for us to do. So this is the next advanced task. We are being asked to write a function that reallocates a memory block using malloc and free. The function prototype is void realloc, void ptr, unsigned int old size, unsigned int new size. So this is the function prototype. So that means we'll be creating this function in our script. Now, where ptr is a pointer to the memory previously allocated with a call to malloc. That's what malloc old size. Now, old size is the size in bytes of the allocated space for ptr. So the code that we are going to write must satisfy all of these conditions. Now, for your information, a standard library provides a different function, which is the realloc. Now, for you to be able to learn more, just run man realloc to learn more. So for us to be able to perform this task, just come down here, copy the name of the file, come back to your terminal and type vi space, then paste the name of the file and hit enter. Now, as I always say, anytime you open a file with Vim, it opens inside or it opens in the command mode. For you to now enter the insertion mode, hit I on your keyboard. Then you can now type the code. Now, all the codes will be provided in the description below, so that anytime you have an issue, you can just click on the link to be able to copy the code or have a look at the code over there. And also, when you are watching this video, when you are following this video and you face a blocker anywhere along the way, just return back or restart the video, follow me step by step, and you will be able to write your code successfully. After typing your code, which is this code that we have over here, the next thing to do is to type is to hit escape on your keyboard. Then you type write and quit, which is WQ. So the W write your file, that's save it, and the Q quit the Vim text editor and go back to the previous page. So you just hit enter. Now over here, we have to now use Betty to be sure our code and indentation, everything is correct. So to do that, we type Betty, then space the name of the file, then you hit enter. So over here too, you can see that our code has been passed successfully by Betty. So the next thing to do is to now add it to all the rest of our repository and push it to GitHub. To do that, we type git add git commit -n, then you input your message inside the double quote. So created advanced task 1. Then you type git push to push it to GitHub. Then, if your checker has been released, you click on check your code, then you continue to the next task. Now, the final advanced task that we have is we must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. So we are being asked to write a program that multiplies 2 positive numbers. That's we are being allowed to use the mul, num1, num2. Num1 and num2 will be passed in base 10. Then we are supposed to print the result followed by a new line. Now if the number of arguments is incorrect, print error followed by a new line and exit with a status of 98. Now for your information, you can use BC. So if you don't know or you don't know anything about the BC, just type man BC, then you check the result. So the code that we are going to write must satisfy all of these conditions that we have over here. So to do that, okay, copy the name of the file, okay, come back to your terminal and type vi, then paste the name of the file and hit enter. In the command mode, hit I on your keyboard to enter the insertion mode, then you can now type your code. So this is our code for task advanced task 5. Okay, so after clicking I on your keyboard and moving into the insertion mode, then you can now type all of these codes. Please mind the indentation. Okay, do not leave any unnecessary space anywhere, otherwise Betty will give us an error. So when you are done typing all of this code, you click on escape, then you type :WQ, then you hit enter. Then over here we can now use Betty to check whether our code is free of any error. So type Betty space then the name of your file, then you hit enter. So you can see that Betty has checked all our functions that we use and it is telling us that we don't have any error. So the next thing to do is to now add it to our repository. So git add git commit -m created advanced task 2. Then you can now do git push. So if your checker has been released, then you now click on check code. Please, if you face any challenge along the way, please pause the video, go back, start it, and follow me step by step. The link to the codes, all the codes is in the description below. So please click on the link and also have a look at the code to be sure of what you are doing. Thank you. Please subscribe and also hit the notification button so that anytime there is a new video, you'll be the first to receive it. And also, if you are new to software development or software engineering, then please click the subscribe button because there will be a lot of software engineering videos coming soon so that we all grow together. Thank you.